when people go see this movie, there's going to be a new trend. Hashtag month of Mondays. When you see the movie, you'll understand what I'm saying. The BFG is directed by Steven Spielberg and stars Mark Rylance, Ruby Barnhill, Penelope Wilton, Bill Hader, Jemaine Clement, and Rebecca Hall. This is the adaptation based on Roald Dahl's classic book, The BFG. Roald Dahl is the guy who wrote the novels Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Fantastic Mr. Fox, Matilda. The guy's written so many iconic childhood novels. So if you don't know what this one's about, it's about a girl named Sophie, played by Ruby Barnhill. She lives in an orphanage in England, and then one night she's taken by the BFG, aka the Big Friendly Giant, played by Mark Rylance, who's kind of an outcast in giant country. What he does is that every single night he goes out into the world and puts dreams inside kids, and now there's a whole brawl going on in giant country, and we have our movie. Now, I was so excited for this movie because it's directed by Steven Spielberg, and that just may be a biased thing because Steven Spielberg is my favorite filmmaker working today. He is probably the guy that got me into loving movies. I watched many of his films since I was a little kid. I think there are only 3 films in his filmography that I have not seen. And the BFG was actually one of my favorite books when I was a little kid, so I was really excited to see how it was going to be adapted on the big screen. And I gotta tell you that I personally thought this was a fantastic film. I really was blown away by just how magical and fun this movie was because, let's be honest, Spielberg doing all these historical dramas is great and everything, but it's about time he goes back to doing something fun and happy and family-like and magical. So let's start with his directing. It's very well directed. Spielberg knows how to direct children. When you watch E.T. or AI, the guy knows how to get incredible performances from children, but he captures the magic and the fantasy-like elements of the story, which is something that I was a little worried about going in because the trailers weren't really the greatest. But then again, I'm like, it's Spielberg and Disney. What can go wrong? And it didn't go wrong whatsoever. The film was written by the late great Melissa Matheson, who did write the screenplay for E.T. The screenplay was great. It was a faithful adaptation to the source material. Then again, I haven't read the book since I was like 8, so that was 10 years ago. And I mean, there's a lot of charm in the dialogue. There's a lot of humor. There is a sequence in the palace that will stick with you forever. And it's something so unexpected for a Spielberg film that I was just like, whispering to the person I saw the movie with. I'm like, there's no way that Spielberg would ever do a scene like this. But I loved it because I was having a blast. I love the characters. The BFG and Sophie, their dynamic is incredible. Like, that's something I loved about the book. I remember loving that aspect about the book. And their chemistry in the movie is so cool. And all the other giants are cool. I love the characters in this movie. Visually, the film is amazing. It's not as visually stunning as Spielberg's other films. There's a lot of green screen in this movie. It's barely noticeable. This is probably Spielberg's Avatar meets Harry Potter, because there are some sequences that kind of remind you of Avatar and then some sequences that remind you of Harry Potter. And I like that aspect of the film a lot. The look of the giants is actually really good, particularly on the BFG, because I looked at a picture of the way it was drawn out in the book. It looked the exact same with some elements of Mark Rylance's face, so that was pretty cool. Now the acting though, the acting for the most part is very superb. Ruby Barnhill was great as Sophie, like I brought up in my review earlier. Steven Spielberg knows how to direct children. This girl owned the role of Sophie. Her character kind of reminded me of Elliot from E.T. meets Hermione Granger. And I think that might have been the vibe that Spielberg was going for. So I gotta say that Ruby Barnhill did a great job, and I'm looking forward to seeing whatever else she does in her career. Mark Rylance, I think, was the standout of the film. He was terrific as the BFG. I really liked him in Bridge of Spies, although I will keep on saying this probably till the day I die. Stallone deserved that Oscar, but then again, Rylance did do a good job, just not as good of a job as Spielberg. Jemaine Clement, he's the villain of this movie. He owned the role. Like, he's a very scary guy. Bill Hader was also in this movie. He did a good job. The human characters were really cool. Like I said, there was a scene in the palace that just, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I'm still thinking about it, and I saw the movie last night. Also, I should have brought this up earlier. I saw the movie in 3D. The 3D was actually really good. It added something to it. You don't have to go see it in 3D, but I would suggest you should definitely consider seeing it in 3D. My flaws with the movie, I only have one, and that's the pacing. This movie's pacing is kind of iffy at times. Like, the beginning starts off really slow, and then it kind of goes a little slow in the middle act, but then like everything else goes really quick. I was into the movie. I was never bored. I wasn't like, ugh, I want this movie to end. But there were some issues with the pace. I thought the movie could have been a little shorter. So that being said, I loved the BFG. I had a great time watching it. It was funny. It was charming. It was adorable. It was a great return to the form for family films in Spielberg's catalog. I hope he does more of these. But then again, his next film, Ready Player One, which sounds awesome, That's not going to be for families, but I cannot wait to see that. I'm going to give it a solid A. Guys, tell me down below what you thought of this movie. If you saw it, did you read the book when you were a kid? What's your favorite Roald Dahl film adaptation? It could be anything. Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, Fantastic Mr. Fox, James and Giant Peach, Matilda. If you want to go Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, fine. Tell me down below, guys, and tell me your favorite Steven Spielberg film. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys soon.